good for recording? Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead, because we have lunch after this, to go ahead and start a couple seconds early. Shh, don't tell anyone. This is our 11:30 presentation for HuSaCon 2025, Track 6. We have Dr. Glen Vickers here with the long game, insider threats applied through a regenerative AI framework. Glen is a longtime advocate for cybersecurity and its critical role in modern organizations, published author on leadership with a focus on virtual environments. He is passionate about continuous learning and advancing security awareness, a lifelong martial artist, practicing jiu-jitsu and other disciplines since age 4. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you everyone for having me. This is a cool opportunity to tell you a little bit about what I do and how I like things. So I went special, so some of the people in this, let me go back. I just screwed up my own presentation. There we go. So we already kind of read this off, so I'll just kind of skip this real quick. You can see I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been in the IT industry since the 90s. I switched to cybersecurity about halfway through my career. Started with identity and access. Kind of that's my stick from then on, because it doesn't matter how good your firewall is or any of your peripheral security. If you give them a key to the front door, what does it matter, right? So that's kind of where I come from. So this particular talk is based on an anime. So who watches anime in here? Like, I was expecting like 3 people. That was better. So if you have watched anime, it's based on Cowboy Bebop, episode 14. This is a long game haul. So let's put yourself in the shoes of this particular person. He's a guy that just got hired straight out of college. One of the smartest people in the room. He designs revolutionary technology. In this case, for the anime, he designed the gate network that everyone travels around. So I figured, why don't we apply that to modern day and make it kind of a tabletop exercise for CISOs in general. So what we're talking about here is the gate network for them is a toll booth. Nothing more. You go through the gate, you scan your QR, you put your PIN in, so it has 2FA in their anime world. You go through, it pays the toll, you go on to the next station. It could be Jupiter or whatever, right? We don't necessarily have 2FA on the OT, that is the toll system. You scan the little QR or your metric badge that's glued to your car, and you go through. So what if somebody decided to revolutionize that, make it a part of the OS in your car, and then every toll booth, no matter where you're at, will charge just your bank account straight through? Revolutionary. Make it easier for tolls everywhere, especially those people that do road trips, right? Well, let's assume that the guy that developed that gets fired. They just decide, you know what, we're about a year from product launch, and we don't need you anymore. Goodbye, engineer. We're going to go full launch. But wait a second, there's a catch. He saw something that no one else did. He saw in this particular episode, there is a way to exploit the gate system so you can steal money directly from people scanning through the gate. So the readers on your toll booth system, now just, you can steal money. That's the way you'd steal it. We could potentially do that today because they're all OT. They're all auto-scan. There's no 2FA. There's no authentication. It's a closed network, mind you, but since when is a closed network secure? Quite honestly. So, in this particular scenario, the gate system can be hacked with a physical device. You go up there, you plug a system into it. So, in the real world, anybody know what a pineapple is? Got 2 people? Okay. There are devices out there that you can spoof Wi-Fi, for example. Let's give an easy example. Everyone's heard about don't use Starbucks Wi-Fi, I hope? Yes? No? Why? The real question is why? Because somebody can spoof the CCID off the scanners and say, I am Starbucks Wi-Fi, and then just eat all your data. Now you got all your passwords on their stuff. Everything else you decided to do is just full open to the internet. Good job, right? This does exactly kind of the same thing. But instead, in the scenario in the anime, they're using it to scan your PIN and your account number for your stored money to pay the toll that you go through for the gate system. What if we could do that in real life? I'm pretty sure it hasn't happened yet, but there's always a what if, right? So is anyone preparing for that? What if you revolutionize the platform so now everybody's using the same kind of toll system? It's not isolated to states or regional or not, but whatnot. It's a toll system together. And it's commercialized, right? So where can you exploit? At the toll booth? Can you exploit at the readers? Can you exploit the cars? So I was thinking along this scenario, how would I apply this to real life and make it a reality? The question for me came in, why could we not, in a regenerative network, redesign the method by which the reader feeds information to also just send it to some dude's worm or something of that nature, and then just now I can funnel your entire account through a Bitcoin cycle machine so the money's clean, and now I have all your money. You were just paying a toll. Well, now you just paid me. It's a way to hack the entire system, right? So that got me thinking. There's a couple things in real life that are getting close with AI. Very, very, very close. We have some people from the insider threat sections where this guy was pissed off, wiped a bunch of servers. Why not? Because he had access. He did it before he got fired, right? There's a bunch of other people that do the same type of thing. Each one of these is an actual case of where somebody on the inside decided they're going to do something jerk-faced and exploit a system. The one on the bottom is probably my favorite. 4 years, $88 million licenses just spun through. I'll give you another example of this that has nothing to do with IT, and that is a new exploit because everyone wants to work remote. So you can spoof somebody using their face that they maybe did a YouTube video, let's say, or you capture a voiceover of something they did one time on Twitch, something, right? You only need about 10 seconds of that clip to be able to do a full conversation using their face generated through AI. About 10 seconds, that's all it'll take. So what if you did that to get an interview, and then you said all the things, and then you get hired, but then you go and just farm that out to somebody else, so it's not the person that was actually hired, and you just take that money and deposit it. That you're hired. There was a lady that was caught doing just that. I don't know if it was in Texas, but I do know it was in the United States. She was making $2 million a year, or $2 million a month, or $2 million a year, something like that. And she had 20 jobs. All she did was AI generate the answers somebody needed to get a job, and then got her foot in the door, and all that money is now hers. 10% to the guy actually doing the work in Nepal. I've seen this firsthand in a couple companies as well, so it's not far-fetched. All these have something in common. They're insider threat. Every last one of these was somebody that got pissed off for some reason and decided to do something dirt-faced. And for us that are in cybersecurity, the only thing that prevents us from doing it is integrity. As long as you have that as a core value of yourself, you should be fine. But these people were slighted in some way. So how much do you have to be pushed before your integrity goes to zero, right? I've heard statistics that said around 17 and a half years within a company, and they decide to just let you go for whatever reason. That's usually when you'll see an insider threat. Unfortunately, they're mad, so they make mistakes, and they do things that are stupid. In a regenerative framework, there's a way to do it that makes it a little bit easier. What if, in this case, you look at the way AI is working today, and you apply it in a way that would allow you to hack a system and nobody would know it was you. That's kind of where I came up with the regenerative framework for this particular scenario. Now, if this thing would just let me log in because it's special. There. So in the world of AI, because it's so revolutionary, it's moving fast, right? Everyone's talking about it. No one shuts up about it. If you've seen the CEO meme, it is a reality. I've seen it firsthand, where people said they want an AI, so they build one in-house, and what does it do? The same thing as ChatGPT. So why? It was pointless. Well, in the world of AI today, we're not exactly where everybody was afraid it would be, which is good, but at the same time, it is a victim of our own devices. So in some examples that I've come up with, just to give you an idea where we thought it would be, one of the places we thought it would be this guy right here. So this is an older meme, so forgive me. of the older guys in this room might get it. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with genuine people personality. This is a manically depressed robot with AI. It was a fun idea at the time, but did you really get anything done? It just gives you a bunch of this sucks type attitude, but it'll at least do what you want it to, but it gave you lip while you're doing it, so it was fun. The next place that we went with is what is AI doing that might be a little bit closer? For us older people, we know exactly what happened with this AI. It genocided people out of an airlock and then just locked them out of the ship. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You put a first protocol in there, do no harm. Well, there's life on this planet, and you can do nothing, so I'm going to kill you now. Like, how do I prevent you from doing harm? AI's not there yet, doesn't have control over things. That's probably a good thing for right now. But I'll get to why in a second. And lastly but not, whatever. I can't say the words, I apologize. This is where kind of we are at. So we've seen some examples of things going, why? WTF. The headlines are bigger than what they probably were. That's the thing that bugs me a little bit, is once like media gets a hold of this, it's not accurate. First example right there, company deleted data, and then it just started spoofing reports. I'm pretty sure most of us have heard about this one in AI. I can't remember what version it was. That sounds like, to me, it was asked to do this because somebody said, hey, I need this temp table, build all this thing, and then just dump the data. Okay. So it dumped the data, and it's reading off a temp table and giving you the reports from the temp table. Good job. Your prompt was probably really bad. My concept there is you didn't think through your process. You gave it more access than it needed. Goes back to my access management piece. AI has too much power, has too much availability to data that it shouldn't. It should be impersonating. If anybody asks it a prompt, do it as the person. Don't do it as anyone else. That way you can say, no, I can't do that. You don't have permission. That's a better place to start than, yeah, sure, I'll go do that, and just start doing things. The other one down there was a fun one, where this one, I think it was ChatGPT 4, I want to say, where it decided that every time somebody tries to shut me down, I need to make a backup on my database. That sounds like a really good process in DR. If you're going to shut somebody down, you're going to do patches or whatnot, make sure you do a backup before you do it, right? Commonplace for a human to think that way. Well, to an AI, you just made a loop because you didn't think through your process. You didn't give it an exit strategy. This is now a for loop, and it will never end. It's an infinite loop. Back up before you shut down. Okay, I backed up, but he didn't shut down because he didn't tell me to. Oh, go shut down. No, wait, I need to do a backup. Okay, you're going to go around in circles. Infinitum. So it would make 100 backups until somebody figured out, oh, I just created a loop inside my AI. Good job. Like, those things are already kind of existing, but think about the processes behind them. They're only as good as the garbage we put into it. It's 100% garbage in, garbage out with AI still, and it always will be. It's just in real time, so we see it quicker. Unfortunately, it takes us a hot minute to figure it out. So, back to our scenario a little bit. Come on. This is where all my animations went skiwampus. Now that we kind of understand the framework, how could we make this happen? Right? That's kind of where I was going with this. The way we would make this happen is we would have to do a few things. We'd have to set up a logic bomb, potentially, within the regenerative framework, because what it does is it's waiting for itself to improve quality of cycle. So it's used in manufacturing to improve processes, mostly, at this point, right? So what would you have to set up as a key trigger for AI to say, now I got to do this bad thing? And where would that bad thing sit while it's waiting for itself to trigger? So you'd have a Trojan horse inside of it as well, right? You'd have to do a logic bomb and a Trojan horse. You'd have to do a trigger that's going to take all the stuff that they just did and publish that crap to the internet, and then simultaneously just wait for that trigger to happen. And once that trigger happens, let's go. In the original episode, it triggered 50 years after he got fired. The problem with him, in particular, is that he became senile. So by the time it triggered, he forgot he even did it. So how are you going to go reap anything from him? He doesn't even know what Tuesday is. Like, he's gone, right? But he left this logic bomb waiting for them to do the thing he warned them about, This is going to fail at this point in time. You need to secure this. If you don't, bad things will happen. Sorry, you're fired. Get the hell out, because we're about to go live, and this is a $2 trillion investment, right? They see the money at the end of the table. Engineer sees a problem. There's a disconnect there, and it's all because leadership doesn't see value in fixing it. They're not communicated the risk. They're not understanding what the risk they're facing, and eventually what that does to an engineer, it frustrates them. Like, you don't see the problem before you. I want to fix this problem. This is a big problem. The management on the other side is, that's not a business risk to me. That we can still go live without worrying about this, right? So they do. And that's usually how 0 days come into play sometimes. But essentially, that's where you're seeing this scenario come into fruition, in my opinion. Let me get my animations going. Come on, one more. There we go. So, attack vector. You need all your software is now on every vehicle that goes through toll. So where's your attack vector? What would you hit first? The toll readers or the cars? Which one's the bigger distribution? Why would you use that? Bigger distribution is the cars, in my opinion. If they use all the OEM software, you can embed it into each car manufacturer, but they're using your software as a toll solution, right? So now you are the OEM, embed it into your software. It's delivered into every car. Give it about 5-10 years, right? Cycle of car, when somebody buys a new one, they last about 6 to 10. Some people hold on to theirs longer than that, right? But look at the average time it takes for somebody to get a brand new car. Now you have an attack vector, and you have a time release. So it would not be hard to set something like this up. You pick your devices, and then you show how to exploit it. In the anime, what they did was he just published how to exploit it to the internet and said, everybody go do this thing. Bunch of idiots copycatted. They got none of the money because they're not smart enough to know what they were doing in the first place. But what ended up happening is it funneled straight into his account somewhere. Unfortunately, senile, doesn't know where it's at. For you guys, though, you probably know where it's at. So 5 to 10 years, give it a wait. You disappear, go get a different job. Next thing you know, your Bitcoin wallet's it's exploded. You got 20 billion in your wallet because the logic bomb hit, right? So, time for an RCA. This funnest thing that we always do after this. What would be the impact to the exploitation of this logic bomb that we just dropped on this new company that developed something nice, and it just destroyed the company, I would imagine. Like, if you think at the impact, we're looking at people that have been exploited before. The recent one I can think of is there was a contractor that was fired at a particular company here in Houston, not going to say who, back in August, so I could probably give you guys a hint of who that was. And they fired this contractor, but didn't revoke all his permissions. So he still had access to some things. Well, he decided it was a good idea to go sell that on the dark web. I don't know how much he made for, but it cost, by the time I read the article in December, it cost this particular company over $150 million just from August to like October. That's it. Like 4 months, they're still digging because now they're exploited. They got ransomware in their system because this guy had too much privilege in the first place. Can I make an AI do that? Oh yeah, I could make an AI do that. But why did it happen in the first place? That's the bigger question. Because leadership doesn't understand the mindset of an engineer. They don't get those people. We're others in the leadership landscape. They don't understand other people. They understand finance. They understand accounting. They understand marketing. They meet with customers. They're all talking about bigger pictures. So, most leadership that I've run into, they don't understand the guy on the ground doing the actual work, unfortunately. There's a disconnect. And the bigger the company is, the worse it kind of gets. So they don't understand the mindset. So they're like, let's just lay off 700 people. It's fine. Like, we need more revenue. Our bottom line is being chewed up. You've now created a cycle or position to allow somebody to get that threshold that attacks their integrity to where they cross the line and decide to do something douchebaggy. That's the true RCA and the risk between what I'm talking about. It's not necessarily the AI doing it. Somebody put a logic bomb in there. It didn't do it itself. I mean, you could probably code that in there. Another old meme for people. My team in particular is required viewing to watch this particular movie because it holds true to every IT group I've ever worked in, ever. But this guy was known as, the only thing he cared about is making money, is big business. He'd go up and exploit his workers. He'd go up and say, hey, I need you to come in on Saturday and finish this project. Oh, by the way, we cut some heads, so we need you to work on Sunday as well. If anybody in here has been in that situation, go ahead and raise your hand. I know I have. There's plenty of people where they ask you to come in and work at weekends and do other things they shouldn't, all because they got a bottom line to hit. You're not working the extra hours and you get nothing for it. You're just there. And they don't treat you for it. They might give you pizza the week after if you're lucky, right? But that's the bigger problem here. The culture that's built around, especially software developments, where I'm kind of niching this. This would be a software product, but this can happen in any other industry. It doesn't matter. If you don't understand the mindsets of the people you hire, you're going to create situations where they will exploit you. That's going to be the bigger risk in my vision than AI in general. But everybody's shifting to AI. So instead of developers, you now have AI engineers. What happens if the AI engineer decides to be a douchebag? And you give them access to the LLM that they're coding. You have them build the processes. They just slip a few more things in there and you won't even know. Because it's doing its job as far as you're concerned. So you wait for the logic bomb to trigger. Now they're stealing money from your company. Auto ransomware, because AI decided to ransomware it for you. Like, it just can do it for you. You don't need somebody to hack in the middle. AI can go out there, grab the ransomware package, deposit it for you because you gave it access to the internet. Good job. Like, there's plenty of ways that you could do this that would require zero effort from the guy that just delivered the package. He just went in there and said, I need a thing. Last year, they discussed Stuxnet, if you guys remember, for those of us that were here. That Stuxnet was done, it's like 15 years ago almost now, something like that. They walked in with a USB, plugged it in, jacked a few places up for a good 10, 20 years almost. They got wrecked for a while. Well, maybe not 10 years. I think it was about 5. But they're still worming through problems, pun intended. The problem that we have now is that guy was an insider, but he walked the package through the door. What if you don't have to? What if you have AI grab it for you? It's just sitting on a private NAS server in some closet somewhere. Like, it's only accessible to them. You give the LLM the user and password for it. You encode it so it doesn't look like what it's asking for. It goes out and grabs the package for you. You don't need much of anything in the middle. You just have to put a Trojan horse and a logic bomb, waiting for it to trigger and hit. And it's all because leadership doesn't treat their engineers as they should. They're the Picasso in the room. They're the ones that want to innovate. They're the ones that want to create something. They get a little bit miffed when you take their newly created thing and say, we don't need you anymore. We're just going to take that from you and sell it. Have a nice day. Hold on a minute. I just poured 10 years of my life into this, and you're kicking me to the door. Being in that situation is not a comfortable situation, but that's the point of this whole thing. You set yourself up for failure by not treating your people right. AI is no different. You just got a different attack vector. So yeah. I didn't have much to talk about other than that. I wanted to paint a scenario, treat this a little bit more like a tabletop exercise rather than me just sitting up here talking for a while. The next thing I'd like to go to is, any of that resonate with anyone in here? How about, has anyone been in that situation where they just decided to say, we're done and we don't need you, and your bosses didn't get it? And you knew there was threats there and they just didn't care? No one? I doubt that. I don't believe that in a heartbeat. I've been in a lot of places where I'm like, yeah, that's not a good idea. Don't do that. Please don't do that. And they do it anyways.
And one kept behind and trained the team that followed me and then let go.
Yeah, the worst situation I've ever been in is I trained an entire team, about 50 plus people, only to lay them off at the last minute after we've moved everything and everything was working fine, to only hire a different team to move the entire platform to something new, and then laid off that team, and then I was laid off. Yeah, it was a wonderful situation. Any questions? Or is that too much food for thought? Did I just ramble?
I am also told that lunch is actually going to start at 12:15, so unfortunately we can't go to lunch early.
See? 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was trying to be cognizant of time, assuming they're going to try and start stuff at noon, and here I am just talking over people's lunch, which is not cool.
Well, that's what I said. Lunch is late. It's going to start at 12:15. 1215. So.
I left plenty of time open for Q&A. That was the whole point of it. But if nobody has any questions, well...
Oh, there's one. Thank you.
I ran too fast.
Hi, I appreciate the presentation. You talked a lot about this scenario, but aside from convincing leadership to treat everybody great, how would you go about detecting this and mitigating it? Not necessarily the prevention, but the reaction. Hoping we'd have a conversation about that.
Not intervention, but prevention?
Not prevention. Not preventing it from happening in the first place, but let's say something happens, it's out of your hands, the insider is there. How would you go about identifying that, hey, you know, this is a problem before it becomes, oh crap, they stole $50 million, right? Mm-hmm. From a technical cybersecurity side, not just like remove all access. I think that's an easy one. Double check that you removed all access, but like from a, I don't want to say a tools perspective, but maybe from a tools perspective.
Well, there's plenty of tools out there to kind of help you with that. We got frameworks like Zero Trust, for example, operation of least privilege, segregation of duties. There's a lot of that in play, right, already, which leaves your regular Joe hacker to use things like social engineering, phishing, things like that to try and get their foot in the door. My bigger focus for me is the internal threat. You got to look for people's behavioral patterns that might indicate that they're just pissed off and don't want to deal with you anymore. A pretty good example of that has actually come from film, mind you. So it's a little bit older. Jurassic Park was actually an insider threat, if you think about it. The guy literally put a timer bomb to disable all the gates while he tried to escape with intellectual property, essentially. I mean, it was a straight-up insider threat. But the key indicators were there throughout the movie. He was talking, not sarcastically, but almost like it was a straight-up argument, thanks, Dad, that type of thing. He was arguing with the Emmett Brown, I think is his name in the movie. No,
I think Doc Brown was from Back to the Future.
That's Back to the Future. I'm crossing streams here. Oh wait, that's a different movie. I can't remember what that guy's name is, but it was you saw the dichotomy between the two of them. So those behavior patterns are already there. You can see them manifest, especially with disgruntled employees. There's two ways they're going to do it. They're going to get loud and vocal and kind of mean, or they're just going to shut down and stop talking. The biggest thing I see happening, though, is a lot of people just want to work remote. They don't want to go into the office. Well, now you've checked out of your company culture. You're now a threat. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know you. You show up to the Teams meeting and your camera's off. I don't know who you are. I've never talked to you. I've never hung out with you. I've never met you. I have no rapport whatsoever. You are now the insider threat, so you got to watch those people. I don't trust people from remote unless I've met them face to face, at least once. And I don't mind traveling to meet those people, but you need to make that social cohesion so you can have a level of trust. If you don't have that trust, look at the people you don't trust. That's where I'd start. And you watch their behaviors, and you'll see some indicators, and then you'll start seeing some weird behavioral patterns. As far as tools go, depending on what endpoints you use, I have a favorite right now, so I won't plug their name, but they have some tools that allow you to monitor what they're doing when they're doing it. So if they somehow magically decided to travel from here to China in 10 seconds, that's a little weird. How did you do that? So you can pick up a phone and call them and say, hey, are you in China right now, and how'd you manage to do that? Oh, no, I turned on a VPN. Why? Why do you have a VPN? Oh, I'm at Starbucks. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. Yeah, you can definitely see behavioral patterns before they occur, but if you don't develop trust with your team, you're going to find issues in general anyways.
So, the conversation that you were talking on the track, so, I mean, we have to go to zero trust people now, right? Employees. Because most everybody in here is, I would say, remote in some form or fashion, right?
Yep.
IT or remote people, unless you're pushing a button or, doing something manufacturing-wise. So a lot of that now where corporate's trying to save money, like we were talking about earlier, most of your people are going to be actually remote. So how do you best fit, or how do you best screen employees now when they're remote like that? You meet them once a quarter, right? As you go out and you meet with them, but how do you continuously keep them, I guess, at bay without being a keylogger, some kind of software that sits on there, kind of tighten down the permissions on that level?
So my team's globally distributed. I only have one person that actually sits in Houston with me. That's not a lie. That's a lie. My entire DevOps team also lives here. So there's one guy I have in Dallas, one guy in Greece, and a lady in Singapore. I have met each one of them face to face, at least once, just once. But we've been working together for about 3 years now. But the bigger key is cameras on when you can. If you're working from home, in some cases, if you're working with somebody that's on the other side of the planet, they definitely are home and they might see kids in the background or something like that. It's fine. You're at home. Go figure. I got to meet your family too. That's awesome. Let's connect on a personal level in that space. You don't necessarily have to meet them face to face, but if you can make and manage it once a year, that's going to be better for trust and social cohesion than just talking through a screen at a little initial, and that's it. Cameras at least. Actually, the couple examples I gave with the person that social engineered their way into getting like 50 jobs and making $2 million a month, they stopped using cameras after a time. So the person that actually got hired, cameras on, first couple meetings, develop that trust, you can see their face. All of a sudden, oh, my camera's not working. And then all of a sudden the voice kind of changed. And some behavioral cues started showing up. They definitely just farmed that job to somebody else. I've seen it a few times, and it's all remote work that's been doing it. But once the camera goes off, okay, that's one indicator. You don't sound like the person I've been talking to this whole time either. And then text behavioral patterns will change a little bit too, especially when they're using language translator in between. You can tell. You absolutely can tell. But there's plenty of tells there that will give you an indication. I don't think zero trust is the right way to go, to be honest. It's a framework for certain situations. I would actually apply zero trust to OT, if anywhere, if it were me. I wouldn't trust a device to do its own thing, especially when it's probably running on Windows XP. Why would I trust that? OT's got some problems.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. So as we're talking about like employee behavioral patterns and etc., when it comes to larger organizations, if I'm a team lead and I'm managing say 100 folks, how do you see, like, you can't like judge 100 folks in a meeting, or you can't meet them often. So are there any other recommendations that you would suggest, like security awareness training, or any topics to keep track of your insider threats, or any other recommendations around? I know it's manageable in smaller companies maybe, but what about the larger orgs?
Yeah, the bigger the team, the harder the problem, I would say. And usually you have not just one direct report at that point, you have reports of reports, so it chains down. I could not imagine trying to do 100 one-on-ones in a month, every week. I think that would be my entire calendar, and no thank you. It's only the direct reports, and then your direct reports, you level set the expectation that you are supposed to meet with your team weekly. I don't care. You need to have a one-on-one conversation, and let's not have it be about what are you trying to get done this week. It's all about work. Zero connection there. You will get no connection. You will get no social cohesion. You will get nothing. The better approach to it is, this is your time. tell me what you want to talk about. The most interesting conversation I've had to date in doing it this way is one of my employees, he was looking to move to another city because he wanted to live closer to family. And he's working for me, so he's telling me he wants to move. And he's asking for more relocation options and work remotely and things like that. And I was like, well, how about we do this the right way? Have you looked for a new job over there? Is there anything that's better? Like, those are options too. Like, nothing's off the table. If I were to move into a different location, what would I do? I'd look for a job in that place first, because I'm not going to guarantee that this place is just going to let me go remote and be like, okay, I'm just moving to another city because reasons. No, they'll potentially lay me off. That's probably what will happen. The bigger team on the bigger companies, the way I've had it work at a bigger company, the biggest team I had was about 50 people, but I had three layers. So I had one-on-ones with the top layer ones, and I level set the expectation. Every person that reports to you, you have to have one-on-ones at least once a month. I don't care. And do not make it about work. This is your time to connect with your person. Get to know them. That's more important than it is to just talk about your work. We have an ADO board for that. We have our project plan. We have a ticketing system. We don't need to talk about work in a one-on-one. It's not necessary. If they want to talk career path, that's also personal, right? But I would change the dynamic of that entire relationship to be about a relationship.
Anybody else have a question?
No.
Oh,
Yes. 10 minutes till lunch.
but we get recorded if we go through the mic.
The question was 10 minutes till lunch. Yes.
So you really focused on engineers and keeping the engineers happy, but would you agree that the threat landscape for this has kind of expanded with AI and the ability? So I guess how do you get buy-in from the other parts of the org? Any tips there?
So I focused on engineers specifically because I'm in a room full of engineers. So I try to make it relatable, but absolutely. If I'll give you another good example. ATS systems, anybody familiar with those? You know what they are? No? Yes? Automated talent system, I think is what it stands for, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the systems you now have to go through to even get your foot in the door through HR. It'll take your resume, it scans it for keyword searches like a search engine optimization engine, and says, okay, they're 98% aligned to this job role. So you literally have to transform your entire resume in order to submit it through the HR system so you hit that 95 or 75 or whatever their threshold is to even get your foot in the door, assuming HR reaches it in the first place. Here's the problem. None of the people in HR have been doing a great job at knowing what the job recs are and what they're suitable for. So when they were doing it in person, let's say HR's interviewing for an engineer, they don't know engineering, you just got your foot in the door. That's why we've been relegated to 3 or 4 interviews for a job, for normal people, right? You go through 2 or 3, you meet the team, things like that. That was meant to build social cohesion. You replace that with AI, guess what problem you're gonna have? You don't know who you just hired. So AI in the HR department, we run a bigger risk of letting people through the door there than we did with just leaving the door open, in my opinion, because you just gave them access, at least before you had a bouncer, right? That's right. It goes cross streams. I 100% agree. I just use engineering because we'd all relate.
And then there's also the accidental feature for people just going, oh, I've got to figure out what my next 3 quarters are. Here, let me just put this information up on ChatGPT.
Yeah, well, that's assuming they're using DeepSeek.
Anybody else have anything for us? Otherwise, we'll
Nope.
let you go a little early.
10 minutes till lunch? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, 5. 5 minutes
We
till
are
lunch.
at the 5-minute mark, so yeah. I
Thank
do
you
have a
for-
few things. Thank you for joining us. Lunch will be served in Hall A3 for all attendees. It says on my form until 11:15. With it, it was also supposed to start at noon, so I don't know if the end time is moved. Following lunch, please join us in the General Assembly for the HUSACon kickoff and opening keynote. You won't want to miss this year's exciting opening featuring new updates from HUSACon and an inspiring keynote by Dmitry Aperovich. So thank you very much.